Shemar, you only had one job. One job!
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller.
Somebody needs to get Shemar Moore a copy of Stop Simping. And I have to say, his announcement that he's going to have a baby at 52 years old basically makes him a candidate for Simp of the Year. And I say that he's a candidate for Simp of the Year not because he's going out here and having a child at 52 years old with a white female model. I say that he's Simp of the Year because he's choosing to have a child with a model who is a baby mama who has two kids by two different fathers. Now, your Shemar Moore is supposed to be a high-value man who's out here making lots of money by starring in shows like CBS's SWAT and has had a lucrative career starring in movies and also being known as Malcolm on the CBS soap before The Young and the Restless. And sadly, your Shemar Moore basically shows me how many of your so-called high-value men have extremely low self-esteem because here we have a black man who is considered to be a hunk by many sisters, and many sisters dream of going out here and getting with a Shemar Moore, but instead of going out here and choosing a quality sister to go out here and build his family with, who your Shemar Moore chooses is a 39-year-old bust-down white model named Desiree Dazan to go out here and have his first child with. And again, this is one decision that makes me shake my head, but I understand what the late David Carroll has said about many of these black folks. They love white people. Oh yes, they do. And your Shemar Moore is so spellbound by your Desiree Dazan's crystal blue eyes and her creamy white skin that he's willing to lower his own social marketplace value to get with this woman because she's white. And again, just showing me how dysfunctional your Shemar Moore is, because here's a guy again who could have gone out here and had any quality sister out here to go build his family, but instead of going out here and choosing a quality sister to get with, he goes out here, heads over to the dumpster of the Arab red and white chicken place, and goes out here and picks up a busted Becky who's already proven that she's not somebody who is wife material, because if she's already got two kids by two different fathers, then it already shows that this woman isn't wife material. But that doesn't matter to your Shemar Moore, who is spellbound by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin. And he's so spellbound that he lowers his own social marketplace value in order to get with a chick who isn't worth a $5 food stamp without the book. And he's sitting there on one of these talk shows, sitting up here bragging and celebrating like he's done something good. No, Shemar, you haven't done anything good here. You've basically, again, ruined your whole progeny, because the woman you choose to be your wife is the greatest decision you'll ever make, because this woman is going to be the woman who teaches your child their culture and teaches your child their values. And instead of you going out here and thinking critically about this decision, what happened with your Shemar Moore is that he got in his feelings about getting older, he got desperate, and as he got desperate, he got involved with a female predator who wasn't looking at Shemar Moore to go out here and see him as a quality man. No, they saw this man in crisis, and as they saw this man in crisis, they saw a bag that they wanted to grab, because that's basically what your Desiree Dizon is looking for. She's looking to go out here and grab a bag off of a Shemar Moore as related to child support. So that's what she's looking for as related to Shemar. But he can't, because he's so caught up in his feelings about getting older, he's not really seeing that the woman he's choosing is going to wind up tarnishing his legacy. Because again, a man has to really think critically about who he's getting involved with when he's out here, because the woman you get involved with and choose to have your children with is the biggest decision of your life, because the woman you choose to go out here and get involved with, this is a decision you really need to think about. And you really need to think about the values this woman has, the moral position this woman has, and the character that this woman has, because these are the things that are going to be passed on to your children. And if you don't choose the right woman, your children are going to be learning dysfunction from day one. And you would think your Shemar Moore would have thought about this. He himself, growing up in a household where his parents wound up divorcing and he wound up growing in a single mother household, you would think he would be thinking about the kind of father he would want to be to his child, because that's something I really think about as related. If I wanted to have children, I think about trying to be a father to my children and thinking about actively being involved in their life. And I would want to be in a marriage with the woman I would get involved with. That's what I would want, because I want my kids to grow up healthy. But your Shemar Moore isn't thinking about the health of his children. No, he's thinking, oh, I'm getting older. I need to get my seed out there, not understanding that when you don't have your children in a marriage, you're taking your children down the road to dysfunction. And I don't mean marriage by the state institution. I mean a marriage under the Most High, because in a marriage under the Most High, you're supposed to be thinking, I want to build a home with this woman. I want to build a family with this woman. I want my kids to have structure and stability. But your Shemar Moore isn't thinking about this, because like Halle Berry, all he's doing is feeling and wanting to have kids on dysfunctional terms. And as he's having kids on dysfunctional terms, what he's doing is setting up his seed and his progeny to be raised in dysfunction. Because when you go out here and you have children with a woman who already has 2 kids by 2 different fathers, that's going to lead to those kids winding up learning dysfunction from day one, and they're not going to be able to get their emotional needs met in that kind of environment, because that mother already has feelings about those other men's kids. And if those kids are not treated well, what's going to happen is those kids are going to wind up resenting that other kid. Again, a toxic environment, but that means nothing to a spellbound Shemar Moore, who is just mesmerized by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin of that busted single mom. And that's why he's going out here thinking, oh, I want to have my kids. And again, this is not a good environment for your kids to be in. It's not a good place for your kids to be. And he's sitting up there celebrating this, but it just shows me how dysfunctional your Shemar Moore is. Again, here's a man who for many years was considered to be one of the most handsome men in the black community. But instead of him looking to go out here and find a quality sister, he shows how your high value man has extremely low self-esteem, because if he was having self-esteem and had some semblance of self-worth as a black man, he would go out here and be looking for a quality sister to get with, and looking for a woman who has good values, so that his children can grow up in a healthy environment and grow up having an environment where they can be raised and nurtured and loved by both their mother and their father in the same home and not raised in dysfunction, having to deal with the rivalries of half brothers and half sisters and the insecurities in those environments. That would be the thing that I would be thinking about. And again, he's out here showing me that sadly, even though he's considered to be one of the world's most handsome men, his mind is not in a good place. I mean, like many high-value men, he's going out here putting on a Portobello suit that's cost $49.99, again heading to the Arab red and white chicken place and looking to mac the busted females, hoping to go out here and think that he can go out here and find some quality when he's in the wrong place looking for the wrong woman, because a man who understands his value and his worth as a man is not going to be going out here looking for some woman who's already had kids by other men. No, he's going to want a woman who has good values, a woman who has childless, and a woman he can go out here and build a relationship with. But when you're desperate, like many of these high-value men who have low self-esteem, you go out here looking for anyone to go out here and put seed in, and not understanding that if you put seed in the wrong woman, what you're going to get is a child of the corn. And sadly, that's where your Shemar Moore is talking about. He was worried that that ship had sailed. No, that ship never sailed. I actually had an uncle who, when he was alive, who was around Shemar Moore's age, and when he was alive, he went out here and had 5 children, and because he chose the right woman, all of those children are functional and healthy because he chose the right woman. And again, you have to think before you choose a woman, because choosing the wrong woman can wind up with you on the hook for child support, which is what's going to happen to Shemar Moore, because I guarantee you that this woman, while he's having kids with her, she's going to go out here and then take him to child support court, and he's going to wind up getting taken to the cleaners, the same way Halle Berry got taken to the cleaners, because in both cases they were spellbound by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin, and they weren't thinking about their whole life as a black person. They weren't thinking about building a black family. And again, this is the saddest situation. 52 years old, and again showing me that this high value man has extremely low self-esteem, and because he has low self-esteem, he would rather get with a busted white female rather than go out here and build a life with a sister. And that really is sad to me, because you would think after all of his experiences, your Shemar Moore would be thinking about building a black family. But when I look at his whole case, he just shows me what happens when you have a man who's out here, who's a simp. He becomes a man in crisis, and this Shemar Moore, and later on in his life, is on his road to becoming a simp who will become a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about how to not be like Shemar Moore and wind up in a situation like this, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com in paperback. And if you want to learn more about how men like Shemar Moore get spellbound, you can pick up my novel, Spellbound, on Amazon.com as well. And if you want to check out my other books, like my screenplay books, all about Marilyn and all about Nikki, to learn more about the dysfunction of Hollywood, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format as well. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today.